following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
The whole show.
And here we are. If Mickey will be quiet for a moment, we'll start Mick Shots here. And it is a very special edition of Mick Shots. I am Bill Jones not inside the SWBC Mortgage Studios here at the Star in Frisco. No, I am inside the Academy Sports and Outdoors Studios here at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, along with Mickey Spagnola. And Mickey, we have two very special guests on Mick Shots, not only today and tomorrow, as we've got the great Dave Hellman and the great Heckma Harrison inside their respective SWC Mortgage Studios at home. How you doing, Dave and Heckma?
I'm great. I'm thrilled to be here with y'all, bringing some young flavor to the old guy show.
That's a good idea. Mickey needs some young flavor.
Always need young flavor. They help me with technology, right?
And Heckma, how you doing?
Man, this is awesome. You know, I got my bones here on talking Cowboys with Mickey. He initiated me. You know, I thought that I was in with Mickey. You know, I really did. I thought I'd made a friendship, but since I've left, I hadn't heard from him. So, you know, look, I'm just glad to be back with the game.
All right, I thought I'd give Dave and Heckma the first chance because Mickey was talking right off the top of the show as if it's his own show or something. But Mickey, you have your cowboy gear on inside your own studio there.
I do, and ready to go. So what are we calling this? Is this like a swap? We swapping teammates?
Something like it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Nick called it a scramble on our show. I think that's. I don't play golf, but that sounds fair. Yeah, it's like a Cowboys.com scramble, if you will.
And Dave,
yeah,
you got
scramble.
your.
I'll go with that.
Dave,
too.
you got your Cowboys Hawaii shirt on.
Well, you know, it's a pandemic, unfortunately, so, you know, we're going to get some downtime during the bye week, but I doubt I'll be able to go anywhere. So I feel like the bye week is a place of mine this year, so I'm trying to conjure up some memories of Waikiki.
There you go.
I like that.
You know, Bill, we should have wore in memory of our trip to London, because I think November 9th was the game that they played in London in 2016 or 2014. Should have wore some of our London gear. This is kind of the week anniversary of it.
You could have worn a London fog trench coat on the show there, Mickey.
Hey, you know, Bill, when I mentioned we were swapping, it occurred to me, and this might go past these guys, but in 1973, you remember when the Yankee pitchers did the wife swap?
Yes, Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich.
Yes, absolutely. So, little history for these guys, right? Teammates.
Definitely going over my head.
Starting teammates on the New York Yankees pitching staff, and they announced at training camp in '73 they were swapping wives.
That sounds like some reality TV shows I might have watched at some point.
They were ahead of their time. Did we ever find out how that worked out for them?
It worked out for Peterson and Mike Kekich's wife, but not so much the other way around.
All right. The reason that I am sporting a tie is it's twice a week I have to wear a tie these days. Once is when on Tuesday nights usually, as we pull back the curtain, I tape the Mike McCarthy show here inside the Academy Sports and Outdoors Studios. And then on Sunday morning, I do a Cowboys Game Day show on CBS 11. That's the only time they let me in to the CBS 11 studios over the course of the last 6 months is on Sunday morning. And then the only time really I get into this studio a couple of times we do a high school show on Wednesdays. But McCarthy decided he didn't want to spend a late Tuesday night here today, so we're actually taping the show. We're supposed to tape it at 2 o'clock. So that's why I'm in here. And who knows, the last 15 minutes of the show, maybe y'all could listen in and watch the taping of the Mike McCarthy show if you want to. Or how about over the course of the next half hour, you give me suggestions on what I can ask Mike McCarthy. How about that?
Yes. I was going to say, we should try to get Mike on the show. That's what we should do. Say, like, hey, let's do a 2-for-1.
That's a good idea.
That would be cool.
Or just let us listen in, you know.
Yeah, well, no, I think it'd be better if we all could just ask him questions, and then that can double as the Mike McCarthy show for this week, which, by the way, you'll be able to watch right here on DallasCowboys.com whenever it gets posted, as well locally in Dallas-Fort Worth at 11:30 on Saturday nights, after all the college football is over with. After that LSU-Alabama game, David, that may or may not happen this week.
Please, let's hope that it doesn't. Let's hope that it doesn't happen. I don't really want to watch that. All right. So keep an eye
Mickey,
on that.
Let's get to the news of the day. And there is news regarding one Trevon Diggs topping the headlines on this day.
The Cowboys rookie starting cornerback does have a fractured bone in his foot and looks like he will be out 4 to 6 weeks. He didn't need surgery on it, so I guess that's encouraging. They're supposed to put him in a walking boot. They should have told me. I would have brought my walking boot in and lent it to him if he needed it. And, you know, Dave and I were just talking about when we thought he might have broken the bone in his foot. You know, Jerry Jones made mention this morning that they thought there was something wrong when Pittsburgh had that first possession in the fourth quarter. And they were at the 1-yard line, and Dave and I both saw it. On the second down play, they threw a pass to McLeod to Diggs' side, and he was 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. And it went through my mind. I was like, what is he doing? The ball's on the 1-yard line. Why isn't he, like, manning up right on the line of scrimmage with this guy? And they think maybe he already knew he did something to it, and he was backing off trying to play through it. And then they threw another pass his way, and he was way off the line of scrimmage again. So we'll see. Dave thinks he saw a play that might have definitely put him to rest, Dave.
Yeah, all I know for sure is that Trevon Diggs played at least like half a series, if not more, with this injury. Like it sure looks like, just based on, you know, the in-game announcement that he was out didn't come until almost the end of the game, and he went out at the top of the fourth quarter. I think he played a little ways with this thing, which is just a testament to how tough football players are. That you break a bone in your foot as a cornerback, you think you're probably getting off the field ASAP, but it looks like he tried to gut it out. I'm not 100% sure when it happened, but yeah, definitely a weird discrepancy there, but it sucks for Trevon. It absolutely.
Yeah, that's tough news, man. Tough for us to hear that. I mean, this injury-ridden team, and just another name to add to it. I mean, it's again, tough break for us, but did also get some news today about Chido coming off of IR. So maybe there is a little bit of silver lining in this for a veteran, for this squad to get a veteran in Chidobe Awuzie back.
Yep, and Mickey, as we talked about into last week when they didn't activate him before the last game, his 21-day window was expiring this week. And so if he was going to play this year, they've had to make that move this week. And I'm looking back through my notes, and it was with when Pittsburgh started their drive with 4:11 left in the game is when Savion Smith was in for Trevon. And it was that prior series, which, David, you're talking about, which started at 11:40 left. The couple of times they hit Ray Ray-McCloud down on the when they started that drive from their own 1-yard line, where Diggs was playing off McLeod on that one. I think, and I was watching the game from home, and Romo was saying the same things that y'all were saying in the press box there, that something must be going on with Diggs.
Yeah, and it's good timing for Chidobe Awuzie to get back in here. He missed. He got hurt in the second game of the season, so he's missed 6 games, and he's going into his free agency year next year. So he's basically got 7 games to kind of prove to either the Cowboys that he's worthy of being re-signed, or if he's in free agency, he needs something to market himself, and these 7 games will be, I think, vitally important. And remember, until the previous game when Diggs had 2 interceptions, Cheetos had an interception in those first 2 games, and that had been the only interception this team has had until Diggs picked off 2 the previous game.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Heck.
That's an interesting situation with Chido. You know, him getting hurt and also being a year that he's looking to sign a contract. I mean, this hamstring injury couldn't have come at a worse time for him. So mentality-wise, that's what I want to know. What is he thinking? Is it strong enough for him to do exactly what you just said, Mick? Make a strong enough case for himself to stay here, or auditioning for someone else? Look, we've known that this young guy has played hard. He's been one of our physical corners, and just looking over the defense and looking over what's going on with them right now, not having him healthy has definitely affected what we've had back there.
It's just, I was just going to say, it's interesting to think that, and I don't think any of us are under the illusion that this Dallas defense was ever going to be great, but we really never got a genuine look at the preferred secondary. I guess they had them all together in week 1, but Cheeto goes out after week 2. AB was on IR for a 2 or 3 week stretch, and now that Cheeto's coming back, you've got Trevon going to IR. So if your preferred 3 were Cheeto, Trevon, and Anthony Brown, you maybe got to see them for a game and a half. And yeah, this is a huge stretch for Cheeto in terms of his financial future, but it's not going to be any easier for him with less in depth in the secondary while he's trying to pull it off.
You know, the other thing I had forgotten when I was looking this up, Jordan Lewis missed the first game. So they never really had their top 3 guys on the field really all at the same time, because then AB got hurt. He was out. Then AB came back. Cheeto got hurt. And who knows what the plan might have been. It might have been for Diggs to kind of slowly move in to the starting lineup, like give him some plays, and then when they felt he was comfortable, get him in there. But he had to get in there right from the start, and that's tough on a rookie corner. And he paid for it at times, and they paid for it at times. The good thing is he never lost his confidence, and I think they saw something within him that, okay, I get beat, but I'm still playing hard, and I think that's a good quality and one that cornerbacks obviously need to have.
The other thing, when you look back at that game against the Steelers, when you consider the fact now we know what Diggs was dealing with on that last drive that Pittsburgh, it was a 75-yard drive that started at their own 1-yard line that ended in the Boswell field goal that made it a 19-18 game. And then he came out, and Savion Smith is in there on that last drive by Pittsburgh that gave them the lead at 24-19. Think about what the Cowboys were missing in their secondary from what they wanted to have in their secondary. And Mickey, as you pointed out in yesterday's show, at that point in the game, the Steelers They were throwing on every down anyway. I mean, they decided that we can't run the ball. Believe it or not, even with a one-score game, they weren't running the ball against the Cowboys anymore. They were just putting it in Big Ben's hands. And I don't remember the numbers. You said 22 out of 23 plays were pass plays during that stretch of the game. But the Cowboys, think about it, they were down not only Cheeto, but also down Trevon Diggs in those 2 critical fourth quarter possessions of the game for the Steelers. And at that point in the game, Mickey, they were playing the dime defense. And so you had every defensive back that they had available, basically, that were on the field in that situation. Yeah,
including Savion Smith, who they basically brought up from the practice squad for the game. And I think even your OU safety, Parker,
Stephen Parker.
He was
in
OU
safety.
He was in the game too. I think playing single safety high because they had moved Darian Thompson and Wilson up closer to the line of scrimmage along with Woods. So they could try to cover all these receivers, and they were treating and they should have kept treating Ebron as a receiver, not a tight end. As the one he scored on the knockout touchdown when nobody covered him, Jalen Smith.
Hey, you can't say that because Mike Nolan wouldn't say it yesterday. Yeah. Mike Nolan had no desire.
The reason he wouldn't say it because he didn't want to say it.
Yeah. Well, no.
Mike Nolan literally was like, yeah, the defense just didn't do its job well enough, and that's really all I want to say about it. And like, well, Mike, we have access to tape too, so do with that what you will.
It was sort of like his non-answer. It was like his non-answer on the penalties, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That whole last drive by the Steelers, and Tony Romo is kind of, he's looking at his crystal ball and telling you what's about to happen, and then it's happening. And Bill, it just seemed to me like Ben knew that Savion Smith was in the ball game, and the way that the defense was structured, it just made it so much easier. And then to Eric Ebron hurdling him into the end zone was like the cherry on the top for that last drive.
Oh, and you remember
I've never played football at a high level, but sorry, Mick.
No, go ahead.
I've never played football at a high level, but I've played pickup football, and when somebody can't cover, the quarterback figures it out real quick. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, not to pick on Savion Smith, but Ben was in the huddle just like, where's 32? Who's going to be on 32? I'm coming to you. Just know that right now. Like, that's absolutely what was happening.
You know what was amazing when Romo kept talking about, they've got all these receivers out there, and at some point somebody's going to miss a tackle and they're going to break a big play, right? The next play was the 42-yard short pass play, missed tackle. I think it was it to Claypool? I'm trying to it was to Johnson. And he goes 42 yards, would set up that touchdown, and he was exactly right because he could feel it. This is getting ready to happen.
And that was a missed tackle.
Yeah.
And that was a missed tackle by Smith, if I'm not mistaken on that one.
You're right.
It was awful, man, that last drive. But, I mean, that's why Big Ben surely is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer just by the way he orchestrated that last drive.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Mick Shots. I've got a question when we come back in just a moment. What is the biggest difference between the Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers? Okay, you mull that over for just a moment. And we have that and much more here on a special edition of Mick Shots as we await the arrival of Mike McCarthy. We virtually await the arrival of Mike McCarthy here for the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Grab some OtterBox gear and get ready for hanging with the boys. From rugged venture coolers to tough as nails elevation tumblers, we've got what you need to keep your game day drinks frosty and your football feast ice cold. And with cases, screen protectors, and power accessories, you can defend your phone and stay connected to every play. Gear up at OtterBox.com and amp up the fun of every Cowboys game. That's OtterBox.com.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Back to Mick Shots.
Looking for something to change up your dinner routine? Help support local Frisco businesses by choosing one of over 30 restaurants at the Star District. For information on delivery, takeout, curbside pickout, and dine-in availability, visit thestardistrict.com.
All right, Mickey, up to the challenge. On a special edition of Mick Shots. You got new ears listening to you here, and you survived that without skipping a beat there.
Well, let's be careful. I still got one more to go.
Don't get cocky. All right, I asked a question before the break. The biggest difference between the Cowboys and the Steelers. Let's go around the horn. What do you think is the biggest difference between those two teams right now?
Let's go with our guests first.
All right. Heckman, you want to go first?
I mean,
are we talking? You're talking historically
right
as a
now,
franchise?
Right now. What's the biggest difference between these two teams?
Man, I think obviously the continuity that they have at quarterback. I think Big Ben gives them a heck of a lot more than what we're getting from our quarterbacks right now, and their defense. Those would be the two things that I would point to that would be the apparent difference between the Steelers and the Cowboys for sure.
All right, Dave.
I feel like this is a trick question. Like you're trying to bait me into something.
I've got my answer. I just want to see what y'all think.
How about the record? Because one of them is currently in position to get the bye in the AFC, and the other one is number 3 in the draft order.
Love that.
So, and I mean,
hey, Dave, I couldn't go for that one. I thought that was low-hanging fruit. If I go for that, he's got something else waiting for me.
Surely there must be something going on, because that's obvious. I mean, and Heckman's totally right. The reason for that is the quarterback and the injuries and the continuity. But yeah, one of these teams is planning on playing deep into January, and the other one's 2-7.
There are no wrong answers here. There are no wrong answers. They're all pretty obvious answers. All right, and I love that one. There's bottom line Dave Hellman right there. He just cuts to the chase. I love that. That was the perfect answer. All right, Mickey, what's your answer?
So let me give you 3 numbers from each team, and you decide which side of the ball is the cause of it, okay? So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they registered 2 sacks, 7 tackles for losses, and 9 quarterback hits. Your Dallas Cowboys totaled 0 sacks, 3 tackles for losses, and 2 quarterback hits. So we can talk about the differences in the quarterbacks for sure, but sounds like either protection or the ability to put pressure on the opposing quarterbacks were the difference between the Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But Big Ben said after the game on Sunday that he thinks that Cowboys pass rush might have been the toughest that they faced all season long.
Did it ever hit them more than one time?
Well, it's a testament.
They got his knees there at the end of the first half.
He almost got knocked out for the season. All right. So my answer to the question is, and I think this gives the Cowboys hope for the Cowboys fans hope for the future. The biggest difference between these two teams, injuries. I mean, when you look at the whole key, attrition is such a huge factor in any NFL season. But if you look at that Steelers roster and compare it to the Cowboys, I mean, there is no comparison there. They lost Devin Bush, who they feel like they are replacing a little bit because they traded for Avery Williamson that will help them in the second half of the season and on into the playoffs. But you go across the board, what have they lost injury-wise? Yeah, in that game they were missing Tyson Alualua, okay, but he's not out for any duration of time. But we all know what the Cowboys are dealing with injury-wise. But in an off-season, you are putting your team together, and you're thinking, these are the guys that are going to be with me. Yeah, now you're going to lose some guys. The Cowboys have lost so many on both sides of the ball. We were talking about the secondary, what they lost at defensive tackle, even with the Gerald McCoy injury, the first practice of training camp, and obviously what happened on the offensive side. But if the Steelers lose their 2 tackles, their quarterback, then the guys that the Cowboys are losing, they'd be sitting here at the same record the Cowboys have.
But Bill, you knew that Garrett Gilbert was going to be the starting quarterback against the Pittsburgh Steelers before the season started, right? Come on, man. I was being funny. That was a joke, Mickey. That was a joke. Don't jump on me.
So think about it. For at least one play in that game, the Cowboys were down to their 4th left tackle, right? Because they didn't get Collins.
Yeah.
Irving was hurt.
Yeah.
Brandon Knight gets in there. Then they get who am I forgetting? There was somebody else there for a while before Irving got back, right?
Well, they moved Steele over. They moved Steele to the left side.
They moved Steele to the left side.
And then Connor McGovern came in at guard.
Right. But there was somebody else between when Knight got hurt until Irving came back. I'm forgetting.
You're talking, big picture.
I forgot. So that was like their fifth for one snap, fifth left tackle. And you make a good point. And you've got guys out there playing that really hadn't played all that much. I had forgotten about Knight until I think I saw him out here today doing rehab work.
You know, I think about this a lot all the way back at the very start of training camp when they were, that whole storyline with using the Omni Hotel as a bubble. Dak Prescott had this quote that was like, the healthiest team is going to win. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about COVID, but lo and behold, it applies to regular old injuries too. So, you're not wrong, Bill. You're absolutely not wrong.
That was a prophetic word from Dak. He didn't even know how important that statement was.
Well,
and the other thing is,
the healthiest team's going to win, and they are the least healthy team in the league. Except for maybe San Francisco.
I think the other thing about it is it's even more obvious this year because of the new rules this year as far as using IR, where you can keep a guy out for 3 weeks and then they can come back. So it's obvious. You just look on paper and look at how many guys this team has used and how many guys this team has used. And it's I think if you go down, probably if you took the time to go down the rosters of the teams that are well above 500 right now, the biggest difference is going to be those teams are healthy. I mean, it's amazing what San Francisco's been able to do with all the injuries that they've had just to be hovering around 500 on the season.
Yeah, and speaking of the injuries, and then not only do you lose your backup quarterback to a concussion, and then you lose him for another game for putting him on reserve COVID-19. So that even added to this whole deal of the Cowboys having to start their fourth quarterback. And then lo and behold, this week, the COVID thing affects them again because of the McDonald, the tight end for Pittsburgh, testing positive the next day. And so the Cowboys had to go into their, I think they call it intensive COVID-19 protocol, having the rest of the meetings this week, whatever they had planned, going virtual, and the Wednesday practice that they were going to have, they had to cancel. So in a inadvertent way, it's affecting them this week too, when they could have at least had one practice. Now they'll have none, and that beat continues to go on.
I'm honestly not even worried about them not having a bye week practice, and I don't want to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but I'm going to be waking up every morning for the next few days and seeing if there's anything in the news about positive tests, because that's the bullet you've got to dodge now. Is hopefully nobody on this team was close enough to Vance McDonald that they're going to wind up testing positive, and that's the last thing this team needs is Saturday or Sunday morning word comes out that a few guys have tested positive or whatever. And I don't know that it's happened. I don't know that it will happen, but it's definitely something you got to keep an eye on.
He did play 20 plays.
Don't ask what else can go wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, he was out there.
He played 20 plays. He caught one pass, and unfortunately Donovan Wilson had to tackle him. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes forward.
Well, I will say this, though, that if there is a Cowboys player who caught it from Vance McDonald during the game, it would be the first time on record anyway that they know of that a football player has caught it from an opposing player during a game. And I haven't heard it on the college. I know it hadn't happened in the NFL.
Come on, Bill. Bill, let us not be. Come on, Bill.
I mean, it hasn't happened yet, okay? And so it hadn't happened on the college level. I mean, the doctors that I've talked to about it, leading up to the colleges trying to make a decision. I've got a good friend who's a doctor, and he said the problem is not going to be on the field. The problem for the colleges is going to be after the game. It's going to be at the bars. It's going to be wherever, But because of the ventilation and so forth, the problem. And so I think, knock on wood, I think it'll be surprising if a Cowboy player catches it from Vance McDonald, unless they were hanging out on Saturday night or something.
Sort of like.
Let's hope.
So, Bill, sort of like the Notre Dame student body advancing onto the field after the upset of Clemson.
That's right.
These kids
Well, it might be a tough task for.
They were in closer proximity to each other than for a longer period of time, though, than football players are on the field.
I don't, as a kid these days, or the closest thing to a kid on this show. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're seeing spikes around college football because Halloween is 10 days in the rear view. So hopefully the NFL did a better job of staying in on Halloween than colleges did.
All right, we're approaching the 2:00 hour, which is when I am supposed to do my interview with Mike McCarthy for the Mike McCarthy Show. So I guess I will bail out here and wait on the arrival of the coach. We've still got the camera up in here, so y'all can look in on what's happening if you'd like.
And we can get our questions in.
15 minutes. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Hey, Bill, ask this.
You can tell me right now, and I'll decide whether I'm going to use
quarterback controversy.
Quarterback controversy. Yes. There you go. Do we have a quarterback controversy, Coach?
Finally get a quarterback to come within 5 points of winning a game. Now he should be the starter.
There you go.
I mean, that's what they're trying to say.
All right. I don't think we'll get much of an answer from Coach on that. All right. So I guess you three carry on Mick Shots, and I'll be trying to listen in as we await the arrival of Mike McCarthy here inside the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios. He's not going to be arriving here. He does it from near his office in Ford Center. All right, but Mick Shots continues in a moment.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope. May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Mick Shots.
Get the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan. Join Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, starting at just $20. Visit dallascowboys.com/united. And we are back on the Mick Shots Swap Show. Mickey Spagnola along with Heckma Harrison from the Talking Cowboys and David Hellman from the Lunch, and Bill had to step away to take care of his interview with Mike McCarthy for the Mike McCarthy Show. So we're going to go this last segment, just the three of us. And I did have a question for you guys, since I've got the two kind of draft gurus here with me. Takk McKinley got released. What are your thoughts?
I saw that. To be really honest with you, I'm on board. Like one of the benefits of being bad is that they're third in the waiver order. So anybody that hits waivers, you got a really good shot at them. They wanted Takk McKinley in 2017. Is that 2017?
Yep.
Atlanta traded up in front of him to get him, and they had to settle for Taco Charlton. We can talk about that another day, but it doesn't cost you anything to claim him, and you liked him 3 years ago. He obviously didn't live up to the billing, or else he'd still be in Atlanta, but I don't see what you have to lose.
Heck, Buck.
No, I agree, Dave. I mean, Takk McKinley out of UCLA, I think we loved him. And like you said, Atlanta moved up to get him. I don't know what all his problems were in Atlanta, but for them to move away from him, I think that those are going to raise some flags. And so I want to definitely know what those are. Obviously, staying healthy may have been his issue as well in Atlanta, but former first-round draft pick, man, still looks like he has a lot of good years in front of him. For us, man, we need the youth movement to start immediately. So absolutely, I would be willing to take a swing at him to see at least what he has left.
So I've got somewhat of an answer for you, how things went sour there. And by the way, he's only played 4 games this year. He's had a groin injury. Right. And so he had been missing games, and he hadn't played, I think, even the last 2 games. And to David's point, he's on the last year of his contract, and basically the base salary is what you would have to pick up. So we're 9 games into the season. So you would have to pick up 7/16 of like $950,000, which is negligible, right? That's really not that much.
Yeah.
But here's what happened. He wanted to get traded, and they wouldn't trade him. So he got mad, and they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, which was going to be $10.3 million. So that's one of the red flags, like, why aren't they picking up that option? And then when they wouldn't trade him by the trade deadline, I guess he took to social media to sound off, saying that they said they'd trade me, they didn't trade me, and they got pissed at him. And Raheem Morris, the head coach now, interim, that's the word I was looking for. When they asked him what went wrong, and he said, I think it's immaturity. Takk will be handled accountably. Well, they handle it. It was like, you know what? You want to sound off like that? Okay, you're out. Go find a job, because no one wanted to give us enough in the trade market. Wouldn't even give us a 6th and an 8th, or a 6th and a 7th, I think it was, for you. So go see what you can find.
This is a pretty common phenomenon in the NFL these days. I mean, Carlos Dunlap did something serious, very similar to get out of Cincinnati. Yeah. I know he's a much more experienced player, but honestly, Taco Charlton is a pretty fair comparison too. Like that was not an amicable split. The Cowboys were very happy for him to be gone by the time they finally cut him. And I'll be honest, I don't keep close tabs on Taco, but he spent most of the season in Miami, and he's been with Kansas City, and it certainly doesn't seem like he's a problem child. So sometimes a change of scenery can do a lot for you. No, go ahead, Heck. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to say, when it comes down to athletes and being disgruntled in contract years, I mean, that's like historic. That's a going theme all around the league. But there has to be something more to it. Like you said, they're a first-round guy that's now they won't give up a 6 or a 7 for him. So I guess those are the question marks that I have for Takk McKinley. But then also, this defense, I'm just going back to the guys that we have are starting to play better together. I don't want to be under any illusion here. Are you guys starting to feel the same way about this defense that has been historically bad, that are starting to take some steps now?
Yeah, you know what? And I made a comment about that, and I really hadn't thought about it yesterday. Somehow I got into that conversation of since the Cowboys moved on from Poe and Worley. Who was the other guy? There was 3 guys. They ended up
Everson Griffin.
Everson Griffin. And I made this comment, and I've heard this before, so I'll throw it out at you guys. I said sometimes when you have a team together, there's something to have a bunch of guys on your team with sweat equity. Like, I've been through the trials and tribulations with this team. I've gone through some of the good stuff, but I've also fought through the bad stuff. And then I get 3 guys that are basically carpetbaggers coming in on 1-year deals trying to make a name for themselves, right? And it's like, do they care about the team or do they care about themselves?
I don't know, man. I mean, Everson Griffin's got equity. He's been to like 4 Pro Bowls.
But he's a newcomer.
He's named after Everson Walls. He loved the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'm serious. He was.
Okay,
I mean, Mick, you called a man a carpetbagger. I don't even know where to go after that. But when it comes down to what we have now, you could tell, like, these guys, whatever that was when they got rid of those 3 guys, it rejuvenated this defense. And whether it was just time from a historic standpoint, I think you're starting to see a little bit of sunshine through those dark clouds for the Cowboys defense. And there are improvements, even on the back end and I know, Mick, we didn't get any sacks versus the Steelers, but still, guys were getting close. We had some sack strip fumbles negated by costly penalties. But still, you're starting to see a lot more things come together other than the injuries and guys just playing out of position the way that it looked all season.
I mean, let me point
I
out.
agree with.
I was going to say, let me point
go ahead,
out
Mick.
this: the last 2 games, the run defense, right, improved greatly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did everybody just figure it out at once that, oh, that's my gap, that's my gap, and they were playing gap integrity as a team and not as an individual chasing sacks or an individual just kind of standing up in the middle of the line and doing nothing.
It's like me in statistics class the 3rd time. Sometimes it just starts to stick. I think maybe they just got a hold of it and figured they could do it.
It needed the 8th and 9 game to stick, right? I don't know if it's a coincidence.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with anything y'all are saying, and the results speak for themselves. They look way more competent, but this is a business at the end of the day, and you've got half a season of evidence that suggests that you're not very good. And also, going back to the point from earlier, your record says you're probably not going anywhere important. So if it's me, I'm turning over every stone I can to see how I can improve and add talent to this defense. And not just Takk McKinley, I meant to bring this. Love to see more of Bradley and I in these next 7 games. I want to know what I've got, because the whole we like who we've got, we're building, like, what are you building toward right now? You're probably not going to the playoffs. So Bradley and I, yes. If you can claim Takk McKinley, yes. No, me and Kyle just like. I mean, obviously we worked on the draft together, so we both like Anai, but now is the time to try to acquire talent. You don't know what the future holds for Aldon Smith. They have the rights to Randy Gregory, but he certainly doesn't have a clear long-term future right now. I'm doing everything in my power to try to add talent to this team that I can evaluate over the second half. And if you can get Takk McKinley for nothing, doesn't sound like a terrible idea in my opinion.
You may be renting him for 7 games, but you're not obligated to him going forward if it doesn't work. I'm with you guys on that. Hey, and just remember, they're only 1 victory behind the team leading the NFC East.
And that's big, man. That's big, and that's also something to consider. But, guys, we got to talk about the elephant in the room here now. We got a quarterback situation going on with Andy Dalton and Garrett Gilbert. I want to know what you guys think about those 2 quarterbacks going forward after the bye week.
Well, unfortunately, we have 2 minutes, and we may have to pick it up tomorrow. But I think the quick answer is there was a reason why everybody was so fired up about Andy Dalton being the backup quarterback. I think you got to see that one through.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it in detail tomorrow, but I think it's kind of wild that, I mean, and Garrett Gilbert, he played so great. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I'm not ready to go away from a 10-year veteran because Garrett Gilbert had a nice day in a tough circumstance. I mean, especially, talk to me again in December. If they're 2-10, yeah, maybe you want to get a look at the younger guy. But for the time being, while the division is still maybe within reach, I'm playing Andy.
Heckma, you get the last word.
Yeah, that may be something to be. No, that's something to be considered. I think that Garrett Gilbert, as far as the eyeball test, he came in, it's looked to me and like everybody else is seeing that the team was receptive to him. Andy Dalton, in his time starting, you got a lot of drives that didn't finish with points. So you have a lot to measure, you got a lot to juggle from this coaching staff, but it sounds like to me that they're already saying that Andy Dalton is going to be their guy. And I've always been of the mind that Andy Dalton came here to Dallas thinking that he would never get any live action other than, later in the season. But hey, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll throw this out and we can pick it up tomorrow when we have the Mick Shots wife swap. That's hard to say, really hard to say, right? But I heard somebody point this out, and I give him credit for it, if I can remember who did it. It was like Andy Dalton basically came here on a one-year deal because he was hoping he could parlay that into a long-term deal with another team, right? Maybe even a starting job.
Yeah.
You've got Garrett Gilbert here, and maybe you want to find out, can he be your somewhat veteran backup quarterback going forward when Dak Prescott comes back, and you've got another 7 games to maybe figure that out and not say, oh, I've got to turn this over to Ben DiNucci, or I got to go find another veteran quarterback to back up Dak Prescott. So smoke on that for a while, and we'll see what we think tomorrow when we come back to Mick Shots. Thanks to Bill for dropping in before he had to take off to interview Mike McCarthy. Heckma, Dave, talk to you guys tomorrow. Mickey Spagnola, and that was Mick Shots.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!